Hello and thanks for watching. All the ideas contained within these videos are just that, they're ideas. Use these ideas as a jumping off point to create your own incredible access provision. And remember, it's really important to talk to the people who will be using the access you're creating and get their suggestions too.
Hi, my name is Pete Hazelwood. I am a white male, mid-height. I'm wearing a grey hoodie. I've got a grey hat on backwards. I've got a decent-sized beard and blue glasses. I am the co-director of a company called Warehouse Digital. We specialise in creating digital content for arts organisations, and we also, thanks to 15 years combined experience working with the New Wolsey Theatre as well as Rants on the Moon, specialise in accessible digital content too. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about audio description, which is something that I've had quite a lot of involvement in with New Wolsey Theatre and Rants on the Moon and Warehouse Digital over the last few years. So audio description can be done in multiple ways. One of the most standard ways that we're used to is an audio describer, a professional audio describer, comes into the space, they watch a performance, they watch the piece, and then they go away with a video of it, and they'll write a script to verbally explain what is happening on stage for those who are blind or partially sighted to get the most out of the production that they're attending. Traditionally, audio description would be delivered by somebody live for specific shows, or if an organisation makes a decision to do it every single performance, then that audio describer will have to come in every performance and will have to deliver that script live during the show to those patrons using the service. The other way that we have developed and we're slowly moving into is we are recording. We're pre-recording the audio description. So we still work with the brilliant audio describers. They'll come in like they usually do around a tech rehearsal or around the dress rehearsals or the beginning of a run. Once the show is nailed down, they will write their script as usual. They'll turn it into cues. They would come in, they'd sit down with us and a technician, and they would record it into a free piece of software, just a microphone and a laptop, sort of standard setup. And that would enable us to then put that into a piece of cueing software and link it to something that is already being operated for the show. I think favourites for us tend to be the lighting, but we're also exploring things like attaching the audio description directly to the captioning as well, if that's something that is being offered for every performance. One of the main benefits for pre-recorded audio description is that it allows you to offer audio described performances for your entire run. So every performance, from the point of recording and getting it linked to the show itself, whether it's cued off the lighting or the captioning or however it's cued in the show, you don't have to have those additional staff members there cueing it. You have all performances covered for audio description, and that can be from venue to venue as well. You're not having to tour people around the country with you. One of the other benefits for pre-recorded audio description is that you are able to veer away slightly from what would originally be perceived as an RP voice, voicing all of your audio description for you, which is obviously when you have your script writer, a lot of the time they're already also the person who delivers the audio description. It's quite a traditional way of doing it. However, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's in the world of the show. So what we've been experimenting with and actually putting in place for the last few years now is bringing in creative input into the audio description, recording cast members, characters, additional characters. This really helps you build an experience for those people who are coming in and using the audio description service. With this method of audio description, there are both benefits and drawbacks. Some of the benefits we've already spoken about being able to use a range of voices for the audio description because you're pre-recorded. You could use your actors in the show. However, you've also got the fact that it is completely repeatable. You can guarantee that your delivery will be the same every production. The drawback of that specific point is that if the set falls down, or you have the unexpected, or the show is in some way ad-lib, that really does limit what you're able to offer people using this service. You may be able to put in additional cues in the case of an emergency that's letting people know who are listening to the audio description that we've gone off script or this isn't what it's supposed to be. But most of the time, it's quite difficult to achieve that level of information. There are multiple ways of triggering pre-recorded audio description for a show. One of which is linking it, as I mentioned earlier, to the lighting desk. So what you'll essentially end up with when you finish recording is a individual audio files, which are each line of the audio description as required throughout the performance. But you've also got the fact that you can then lift that up and put that into a program we use called QLab. Some of you might know that well, which is already very common in theatre. And that is able to be controlled then in turn by the lighting. There is a certain language that the lighting desk uses. We can also use MIDI show control. We can use MIDI triggering. We can use time code to control it, which is also can come from the lighting desk or another source. And more recently, we've been looking into triggering audio description cues from the captioning. So if more and more people are doing creative captioning, which I'm sure will be talked about in one of the other videos, the benefit of linking things to the captioning is that has by far the highest density of cues. So every single line has a button press on it. So if you're doing that for your production, there is no reason to not link to each one of those cues exactly when an audio description cue should happen. So then you're having one operator and it's doing two jobs for the performance. So I've spoken about how we technically achieve the pre-recorded audio description in the run-up to the delivery, but we haven't spoken much about how it is received by the audience members, the people using the audio description service. So there are also multiple ways to do this now that have been developed over the last few years. Quite a common one has been infrared transmitters with a sort of neck loop worn in-ear headphones, essentially. What we've drifted into more recently, because it is much better audio quality and a much better experience for those people using the service, is using radio systems. So a standard in-ear monitoring system that can be as cheap as you like, can be on a free channel so you don't have to worry about frequencies, and is infinitely expandable. You can keep adding receivers for people to have round their necks with headphones plugged into for as many people as you need to be able to sit in that auditorium and use the service. A more recent development and slightly more high-tech is Sennheiser Mobile Connect. Sennheiser Mobile Connect kind of came about to act as an additional way for people to do tours and things like that around museums or other places where you've got a single person talking into one microphone and multiple people need to be able to hear what's going on, and that you don't want to have a massive outlay of expense to buy loads of packs for people to wear. So what you can do is you can give those people cheap headphones, or they can use their own headphones. And Sennheiser Mobile Connect, as the name suggests, is a way that they can download an app, jump on a Wi-Fi network, and they can connect to essentially the network that they will be receiving the audio description on, and it will just come through the headphones as usual. There are some challenges with that, like integration with other systems and whether there's any latency, so if there's any delay on the audio. So it can be challenging for things like musicals where you'll be able to hear a double image a little bit. But they will be worked out as time moves on and technology improves. So a quick recap on everything that I've just spoken about. Essentially, the pre-recorded audio description process is you get your audio describer on board, they watch the show, they write the script, they turn that script into a series of cues. Those cues are then recorded into a free piece of audio recording software. They're then lifted as files into a program like QLab, where you can cue it line by line by pressing spacebar. And then basically you're free from that point to link it to the triggering of choice, whether that's the lighting desk, whether that is somebody sat on QLab pressing the spacebar, cueing it cue by cue. And then that will run all the way into choosing your technology for how it then goes out into people's ears.